Hey guys, it's Greg from BitGoblin again, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I don't normally do reviews on peripherals, and I believe this is actually the first video I'll be doing on a mouse, but I felt inspired to do one on this thing right here. It's the Razer Mamba wireless mouse, which I bought recently to replace an old Logitech mouse, which I had that gave up the ghost recently, and figured, why not step it up a notch? It's not super exciting, sure, but let's take a close look at it anyway and see if it was worth my money. Which was only $45, just so you know.
You smell that? It smells like a bit goblin.
So let's start with some first impression-y type stuff, even though it's not quite a true first impression. Anyways, the box is nothing special. You've got your typical branding and product info on the front, and some marketing points on the back. 7 programmable buttons, 16,000 DPI sensor, up to 50 hours of battery life. That all sounds good, yes, but doesn't quite mean much practically speaking, since you can change what buttons do in your OS pretty easily. Super high DPI sensors don't always have a benefit, though it is nice to have the option. And as for battery life, I'd be curious how they're measuring it, because that can be done with 1,000 different ways. Then again, it's kinda hard to market products and stand out with things like mice and keyboards that are oversaturated with cheap products, so I'll give him a pass on that one. Moving on, inside the box you get your mouse, a wireless receiver that's stored in the bottom of the mouse, which I'll show later, a micro USB to Type A stand, which you'd use to place your receiver closer to your mouse if you plug it in behind your PC or something, and a micro USB cable, which can be used for charging the mouse or extending the receiver using the aforementioned stand thing. As for the mouse itself, it has a matte black finish paired with only a couple RGB zones on the logo and scroll wheel. The housing is all plastic, though it doesn't feel like particularly cheap plastic, with some rubber grips with thick grooves on the sides, which I'm not super fond of since I prefer non-textured sides without rubber, but it is rather grippy to be fair, and if you like that, then more power to you. The 7 programmable buttons mentioned earlier are the standard left and right clicks with a clicky scroll wheel, forward and backward buttons on the side, and DPI adjustments just beneath the scroll wheel. On the bottom, you have lots of product markings, the optical sensor, a button that does something that I'll maybe figure out later, an on and off switch, and a little cover where you'll find your receiver out of the box. From here, you can also see the spot that's cut out on the top of the mouse where you plug in that micro USB cable. And I kind of like here how it just kind of fills out that spot there, like everything is flush. Now you can use any other micro USB cable here, but just be aware that the plug will need to be skinny since that's not a lot of room there, and some of my cables actually did not fit. In my opinion, this should have been made just a little bit wider to accommodate some other cables in case the included one dies or whatever, but you know, that's just a tiny gripe. I'd also like to note that you can actually use this as a wired mouse while it's plugged in via micro USB, like say it's charging, or if that's just what you prefer. Also, here's how it looks like when it's turned on. Neat. So, for $45, you get a decent mouse that's made by a reputable brand with a 16,000 DPI sensor, 50 plus hours of battery life, and it has RGB lighting, and it also can be wired. That has to be great, right? What's not to like about that? Well, you can say things about your product and marketing, but not actually deliver, so let's get down in the dirt with it. Having used it for a few weeks now, I can safely say that it is mostly a comfortable fit for my hand. I can almost palm grip it with my middle finger needing to do like a semi-claw grip thing. I would have liked it to be a little bit bigger since my hands get a little crampy after a while of usage, but for a travel mouse, smaller is usually better, and some of you may actually prefer a smaller mouse, so that's up to you if you prefer that or not. It is also a little on the light side though, and I prefer a slightly heavier mouse, but that's again another subjective thing, so your mileage may vary on that one. The high DPI sensor on the mouse feels very responsive and is a joy to use, and is a nice touch for those of you that prefer that for gaming. And the DPI switches on the mouse make it really easy if you want to up the DPI for some fast-paced shooters, and then bump it back down afterwards to edit a photo or something. And being able to run this wired makes this a very viable product for gaming or anything that you may need as low latency a solution as possible. Since this is a wireless mouse, or at least primarily wireless, battery life is really important to take a look at. It's advertised as 50 plus hours of battery life with the LEDs off, and this is only mentioned on the Amazon listing and not on the box, which is a little deceiving. This is kind of disappointing as well, since that's barely 3 days of battery life in its best case scenario, and I'm not sure how much to expect with the lights on. And either way, even if it was 3 days with the lights on, it's still just too short if you use the mouse a lot. That being said, it does go to sleep after like 10 minutes or so of inactivity to save battery. It has a rechargeable battery, so you don't have to keep buying new batteries as you go. And since it can be used while charging, you're not stuck without a mouse if the battery is dead. Sort of like the Apple Magic Mouse, but it still could be better. The RGB lighting, on the other hand, is absolutely beautiful. It's just stunning in my opinion, with the lights as an accent against a matte black finish. I usually tend to avoid RGB products because there are just a lot of outright bad implementations of RGB that are either just slapped on without thought for design or aesthetics, just to add a marketing point, or RGB everything where it looks like a light show just to show off. But in my opinion, this one is done pretty well. It's enough to see the mouse in the dark, but it's not too much that it's overpowering and weird looking. Now, with all that said, is it worth the money? Barring a short lifespan, which I can't really test without using it for a bit, I think so, and I'm pretty happy with it overall. It may not be up to snuff for you peripheral snobs out there, but I would argue if you're really looking for the perfect mouse, then you should be looking in a higher price range. For $45, there's going to be some trade-offs somewhere, especially when it comes to wireless mice, just to hit that price point. And for me, this was a good value and a nice upgrade compared to the cheap wireless mice that I normally use. But of course, it's not a perfect mouse, and it certainly has ways it could be better, even if I do like it. That's all I have to say for this one, and now I'm curious to know what you all think of this mouse, if you've used it before and absolutely hate it, or if there are some other mice and keyboards that you'd like me to take a look at in future videos. So be sure to leave a comment with your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like or dislike buttons depending on how you feel, and if you did like it, then get subscribed and all that junk. I've also got a Discord server if you'd like to hop on it and chat with me or others in the community, and with all that said, I will catch you in the next one.